Hey, shalom, shalom. All right, before I get started with this lesson today, I just want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations unto the elect. All right, now in this lesson today, all right, Lord willing, the title of this lesson will be, What was the youngest age a woman was married? All right, what was the youngest age a woman would be married? All right, and in this lesson, I'm just going to go through the facts. All right, no emotion. All right, no opinions. All right, just straight facts. All right, going into what was the youngest age a woman will be married. All right, and we're going to get start off all right with information here in Chat GPT, and then I'm going to get some scriptures, and Lord willing, all right, you hopeful elect out there are edified. All right, and just before I get straight into it, you have I'm just doing this video because you have all right Captain Tazaric and really all these other camps. All right, they slander all right GMS men. All right, the men of Great Millstone started with our apostles and elders on down. All right, they slander us and say that we, grape little children. We're pedophiles. We grape little children when it's nothing but slander. All right, first and foremost, when we brought out the information, all right, on Deuteronomy 22, all right, the youngest, all right, age of woman would the facts about the youngest age, all right, a woman would be married. All right, we got slander for it. We're just bringing out the facts, all right, and it proves that reaction alone of these other camp proves that they still have this Western mindset on them in this truth. But when you come into this truth, you have to put off that Western mindset. Matter of fact, as it says in Ephesians. Let's get this real quick. Ephesians 4. All right, and let's see. Here we go. Ephesians 4 and 22, it reads that ye put off concerning the former conversation, meaning a manner of life, the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lusts, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that ye put on the new man, which after the Most High is created in righteousness and true holiness. You see, so when you come into this truth, you got to put off that old man, that old Western man. You have to put on the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahweh Bashemel Shai after righteousness. You see, but when these camps, their reaction proved that they didn't put off that old man. They still have this, Western mindset of, a woman getting married, the age of consent, 18. Well, that wasn't the case, in the ancient days, in the during that time, in the Middle East in the ancient days, in our customs, going back into the ancient days, that wasn't, the way. A woman, will be married off, at the around the ages of 12 to 14, as we're going to prove. And it wasn't, well, we're going to get into the information, but I just want to get that, you have a lot of camps that slander us when we just bring out the facts. And they say, oh, we teach the great little children, but name one apostle, name one elder that has ever taught that you should go out and grape little children. Name one apostle. We don't teach that here. Because it wouldn't, first and foremost, we're not in the ancient days. We're living under Esau, Edom's laws and statutes and statutes and commandments, and we're not supposed to do that. The Romans state how we're supposed to obey the powers that be. And it wouldn't be wise to do that. And no, apostles and elder ever taught that. And it's just plain out slander, man. And you say that we, these other camps, they say that we grape, little children, but where's your proof at? It's just plain out slander. You're lying on us. Where's your proof at? You have no proof. Does not the scripture say you got to have one or two witnesses? You don't have any witnesses. You see, slander, man. Does not the law says thou shalt not slander thy brother? What are you doing slandering, man? You have no proof. But Salakia for me rambling. Just want to get that off my chest. You can't approach these scriptures with a Western mindset, with the Western customs and laws. You can't do that. When you're approaching these scriptures, you have to put your mind as if you were back in the ancient days. So let's go back to ChatGPT. Let's get into this information. Now I asked ChatGPT, what age were women during that time when the marriage was consummated. And we know that the consummation of the marriage was sex. All right, let's go up. All right, to this, let's go up because I asked ChatGPT before. I'd asked him what is the legal biblical marriage for a woman. All right, and it's gave me a few bullet points, and I want to get here to the consummation. All right, consummation. It says sexual union. All right, the act of sex completed the marriage. You see, so the woman we're going to get into. All right, what was the age? All right, women were when they had that sexual union. All right, to complete the marriage. All right, biblically, consummation confirmed the marriage. All right, which was sex. It says from that point, the woman was fully recognized as a wife. Genesis 24 and 26. Genesis 24 and 67. Isaac took Rebekah and she became his wife. What do you mean? What do you think that means when it says Isaac took Rebekah? They had sex. You see? So let's go down. Now that we got that information out the way, all right, what is consummation? Sex consummates the marriage. All right, that's what consummates the marriage. It says, what age were women during that time when the marriage was consummated? All right, it says in biblical times, the age, and we're still living in biblical times. Just say in ancient times. All right, long ago. All right, we're still living in biblical time. We're living in prophecy, But it says in biblical times, the age at which a woman's marriage was consummated was tied to puberty, not a fixed numerical age like today. You see, so back then it wasn't about what age you were. It was about, all right, puberty, when the woman reached the flower of her age, all right, aka puberty. Okay, it says, that said, we can give realistic historical ranges, right? We're going to bring the facts, man. No emotion, no opinions. All right, we're bringing out the facts, okay? And when we bring out, when the apostles and elders out of Great Millstone bring out facts like these, we get slandered, we get made fun of, we get mocked, ridiculed for just bringing out facts. And it proves that you Israelites really aren't about the scriptures. You guys aren't about the seeking the old path. You guys are just about living in this Western mindset and making money. That's what you guys are about, man. All right, you guys aren't really for the raw, uncut truth of this word. You see, but it says typical ages in biblical/ancient Near Eastern times. Girls, usually between 12 to 14 years old. You see? So this is when, all right, girls would have, all right, women would have their marriage consummated. All right, in the ancient biblical times. It was usually between 12 and 14, and that's when the flower of their age came. All right, when they were in puberty. All right, when a woman reached puberty, that was the indicator. That was an indicator to basically say that this woman is ready, all right, to be married and to have children. You see, it says consummation generally occurred after the onset of puberty. All right, that's the youngest, all right, woman will be married. All right, 12 to 14 when they hit puberty. All right, it says Jewish tradition later defined a girl as a woman at 12 years plus 1 day. All right, so 12 and up. It says bat mitzvah age reflecting biological maturity. All right, right. So when the woman hit puberty, that reflected, that showed the woman's maturity, and she was ready to have children. All right, to be married. All right, men typically older. You see, so you had, we keep reading. It says often late teens to mid-20s, right? When the man was established. All right, around the mid-20s, to late 20s, all the way up to 30 and 40. All right, 50, all the way up. You see, the men were older and they married the younger women. All right, and this was and you even have that in modern. All right, you even have these laws today. All right, in the Middle East. You see, this is our heritage. This is our culture. You see, but it says expected to be economically capable of supporting a household. Right, when the man was established, had the foundation, had money, had a profession, was built up, just like Mary and Joseph. All right, Joseph was older than Mary. All right, when they married. All right, and Mary was was younger. She was around 12 to 14. That's when women were ready to be married off. All right. It says why puberty mattered more than age. Right. It wasn't no age didn't determine whether you get married or not. No, it was about whether you hit puberty or not. You see, It says in the ancient world, there were no birth certificates. Legal adulthood was based on physical maturity. All right, and what showed a woman's physical maturity? When she reached, all right, the flower of her age or hit puberty. It says a girl was not expected to consummate a marriage, all right, before she was physically capable. Right, when she, and really, I forgot to make a point, that was when she reached her period. When a woman has her period, that's when she's, all right, physically able to, bear children, to be married. And that's when she will be married off, all right, to another man older than her. All right, simple as that. And there's nothing to be emotional about. This is facts. This is in history. This is our culture. This is our history, man. What is so offensive about this? What is so how should I say? What is so offensive about this, man? But yet you camps, you seem to get offended at this, and you start to slander us when we just bring out the facts. It says this is why betrothal could happen earlier, but consummation waited. All right, but that was pretty much it, man. It says key careful clarification. Betrothal could happen earlier. Consummation normally waited until puberty, transfer to the husband's household, public recognition of marriage. All right. Summary: woman typically 12 to 14 at consummation, right? And what consummated the marriage? Sex. So woman would have sex at the age of 12 or 14 to consummate the marriage. Woman would get married at 12 to 14 when they reached puberty. You see, it says men typically older, teens to 20, 20 and up. All right, to the mid-20s, late 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, all the way up. All right, standard puberty plus covenant, not a fixed age. You see, so that was pretty much it. Let's get the scriptures now. Let's get let's see. All right, let's get Sirach. So there's nothing to be emotional about. Captain Tazariak, IUIC, all these other camps that slander us and say that we great little children. What are you being emotional about? Why are you being emotional? All right, and weak-minded, man. You still got this, all right, Western mindset on you, man. You need to shake that off, man. You should have shaken it off when you came into this truth. All right, but let's get Ecclesiasticus or the Book of Sirach 42. All right, in verse 9. All right, it reads, "The father waketh for the daughter when no man knoweth, and the care for her taketh away sleep. When she is young, lest she pass away the flower of her age." Right, when she hit puberty, when she has her period, being married, lest she should be hated. Let's get that in the GNT. All right, let's see. Here we go. It says, Sirach 42:9, "Although he will not let his daughter know it, a father will lie awake at night worrying about her. If she is young," right, 12 to 14, we just proved it, "he worries that she might not get married." Right, because a woman's supposed to get married around that time when she's young. All right, not when she's older, around her, all right, mid-20s, 30s, 40s. No, the woman's supposed to start off young, get married young. All right, in that way, she'll bring forth strong, all right, healthy children, man. All right, the younger the woman has children, the more stronger and healthy the children are. All right, and that's just how the Heavenly Father created it to be, made it out to be. You see, but it says if she is already married, he worries about her happiness. All right, but that was pretty much it. So the woman, all right, they marry young. All right, they marry young. And we just proved it. Let's get 1 Corinthians 7. It's like here. 1 Corinthians 7. All right. 1 Corinthians 7 and 36. It says, 1 Corinthians 7 and 36, it says, "But if any man think that he behaveth himself uncomely towards his virgin, if she pass the flower of her age," what is that? We're going to get into that in the Google definition. What does it mean, flower of her age? We're going to get into that. It says, "And need so require, let him do what he will, he sinneth not. Let them marry." Let's read that again. "But if any man think that he behaveth himself uncomely towards his virgin," all right, the woman, if she pass the flower of her age, right, when she hits puberty, That's what the flower of the age mean. When she hits puberty, she starts to have her period. That's the physical maturity, the indicator that she's ready to bear children, to be married. All right? And that's just how it is. It says, and need so require, let him do what he will. He sinneth not. Right. He sinneth not to Zaryak. Let them marry. Okay, let's get that what it means, the flower of your age. Flower of the age. All right, and we're no GMS, all right, apostles and elders telling you to go out, all right, and grape little children. Nobody. That's just slander, man. You're saying this, all right, you have no proof to back it up, man. All right, we're not going to do that, all right, in this current society, because Esau Edom's in rule. All right, we're not living in ancient days anymore. All right, we're under Esau Edom's ruling, and we have to follow his laws. As the scriptures say, look, we have to obey the powers that be. All right, it's not expedient to do that. It wouldn't be wise to do that. All right, it says the flower of her age is an old-fashioned phrase, mainly from biblical context like 1 Corinthians 7:36, as we just read. All right, meaning a young woman's prime marriageable age, past puberty, but still in her youthful bloom. All right, and that was around the ages of 12 to 14, 15, 16. You see, suggesting she's ready for marriage. All right, so that when she hit puberty, all right, and that's when the woman starts to have a period that would indicate that she's married, she's ready to get married. All right, to bear children. It says, and it's becoming improper to delay her wedding if she desires it, right? It symbolizes peak youth, fertility, and beauty before it fades, right? Before it fades, right? Because when women get older, their beauty fades, their fertility fades. It's like when women get older, all right, their fertility, it fades. Their beauty, it fades. You see? And that when it starts to fades, all right, that decreases the chances that she's going to get married. So it's best to start young, all right, so that she can get married, have bear children, all right, and basically be taken care of by the husband. You see, it says with the passing of this stage, meaning she's getting older and her opportunity for marriage might diminish, right, when she gets older. So you best to start young. All right, that's why Apostle Tahar said we're going to get them young in the kingdom, because that's going back into our ancient customs. All right. And you have, when you're approaching these scriptures, you have to get that Western mindset off of you, man. You have to. All right. When we get into the kingdom, we're not going to follow after the way of Esau's laws. We're going back into our old ancient customs. All right. As the scriptures say, seek ye out the old paths. We're going back to the old way of doing things. And this is one of the ways. All right. A young woman, man, when she would be ready to marry around the ages of 12 to 14. This is facts. All right. No emotion here, man. You can't deal with the scriptures with emotion. It don't mix. It's like oil and water, man. All right. Again, the stage meaning, it symbolizes peak youth, fertility, and beauty before it fades. With the passing of this stage, meaning she's getting older and her opportunity for marriage might diminish. Right. You got, women these days, and that's just the Esau, he fucked up everything. He changed the laws, the ordinances. All right. These women, they become 18 and then they're all ran through and then nobody wants her no more. That's not the way it should be, man. All right. 40 getting, women be 30, 40, get married. They passed, all right, how should I say it? The flower of her, they passed the flower of her age. The flower of her age. Yeah, that's it. They passed that. Women around the 30 or 40, 50s getting married around then. They passed the flower of their age. That's all backwards, man. You're supposed to do it while they're young. You see? And that was ancient custom, and it's still being done today. So what's the problem, Tazariak? What's the problem, you other camps that slander us on this thing? You see, even the issue with, the grape, in Deuteronomy 22. And I'm not going to get into it today. There's many videos on it. But what are you getting so offended about? It's the law. All right. Grape, it happens. Here's the law on it. All right. It happens. Here's the law on it. You see, so these camps still combine. Oh, y'all grape women and y'all like little children. Y'all grape little children. You see, it's just nothing but emotion. All right. Slander. All right. Lies. And the Lord sees all this, man. All right. When we're just bringing you the truth. All right. As Apostle Paul said, look, am I your enemy because I tell you the truth? We're just telling you the truth. All right, but we're made out to be enemies when we just go into the scriptures, man, and bring out the law. All right, we bring out customs. All right, we go into the what do you call it? The nitty and gritty, man. We get into it. You know, us here at Great Millstone, starting with our apostles and elders on down. You know, but enough of me rambling, man. Hopefully, this lesson was edifying. All right, the youngest age, all right, woman will be married. All right, what was 12, all right, through 14. All right, when they reached puberty. All right, when the woman, started her period, that would be all right the age to basically, you know, that would be the age to start marrying. All right, the woman. All right, to have, and that's what happened. You had women, all right, 12 to 14 getting married at that age. All right, by getting married by older men around mid-20s, all right, late 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. You see? And this is just facts, man. All right? Get out of that Western mindset. But with that, hopefully this lesson was edifying. With that, just want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations unto the elect.